Hey guys. Yeah, I'm just talking in the chat right now of Tom Zambino not quite watching the right episodes, and I forgot to mute the stream. Anyway, so welcome to Just Whelmed episode 3, everybody. We will be getting Joe and Ash here in a bit once they're all ready, and maybe Tom maybe Tom Zambino if he's actually watching the episode, and maybe Tom Bennis if he's awake at all. I don't know. I tried getting him to wake up. He says that. Okay, so Tom watched the last episode for the group. Okay, so he will be all the way at the end because that's the episode he's watched. Okay, so here on Just Bombed, we talk about 4 episodes at a time of Young Justice. Tom, 4. It's fine. It's fine. So we go by week, covering 4 episodes at a time, and it's sort of a sort of a nice little binge along sort of Flash and Friends ripoff. Hopefully it hopefully Flash and Friends gets renewed. I'm just watching Tom in the chat. He's just like, oops, it's fine, it's fine. Anyway, we're going to start off, and this is the first time that I'm like, oh, I don't remember what the name of each episodes are, so I actually had to bring up Wikipedia to remind myself of what the episodes are. And scrolling down, okay, that one's obvious. All right, so our first episode is episode 7, Denial, and oh boy, guys, this as I've alluded to in the past, this is the episode that sort of got me hooked on the show to begin with. It starts off with it's the team sans Robin because he's off doing the Boy Wonder thing with the Batman, and there's no Batman to there's no Batman to give them admission, so they ask Red Tornado to give them a mission. He's like, oh, that's not my job. It's like, yeah, well, Batman's not here and we're bored. So they're like, okay, I need you to go check up on Kent Nelson, who is the alter ego of Dr. Fate. And I will stress alter ego because we'll get into that in a bit. So this is the episode where the episode title for this week's episode gets its name, Fate of the Flashiest, because this is through and through a Wally West episode. And right off the bat, we get to see his dynamic with Artemis sort of take form. Oh, now I know who that guy is. Yeah, Tom only watched episode 10, and it's like, oh, I don't get anything that's going on. Yeah, it's because there's 9 other episodes before it. It's a very serialized stuff. You should probably actually catch up in your free time, Tom, because we will be covering 4 episodes next week too. So anyway, but the entire time, it's like it starts off with Wally's being super skeptical about magic, even though he's got a magic user on his team in the form of Aqualad. And and he's going with this, actual scientific explanation of how his tattoos gives him electric powers. Have you heard of bioelectricity? Yeah, dude, that's what you got. It's essentially like jellyfish stingers. It's like cool. But he very quickly changes his tune when he realizes that Miss Martian is a huge magic fan. So he's just like, "I'm magic. I'm all about it." And I will tell you guys, do not worry. This is the worst that the Wally obsessing over Miss Martian gets. It's only uphill from here, guys. Don't worry. This is the low point of that. It's a little hard to watch in the beginning, but the rest of the episode absolutely makes up for it because the rest of the episode is fantastic. So Red Tornado gives them a key, and we come to find out that Nelson himself has been kidnapped by none other than Abracadabra, who is exactly what Wally says, and Clarion the Witch Boy, who is a serious magician, guys. He's a serious Lord of Chaos, and oh boy, he gets some stuff done in this series. He's coming back, guys. He is coming back. Spoilers. So we've got Clarion and Abracadabra just sort of torturing Nelson, trying to get to the Tower of Fate, and here comes our heroes. Still with no Robin, because this episode has no Robin, guys. We're finally getting like we'll cut characters out so that we can focus more on other characters, and we'll get a lot more of that as we go along. But it's like everything hits the fan when they enter the Tower of Fate using the key, just like sticking it into nowhere. Aqualad just like tower appears, and they walk in, and Wally's got this nice little interaction with Artemis, and he's like, and Artemis is like, what do you think? It's like that's like it goes through all the science mumbo jumbo of what's happening. He's like, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, no, it's magic. And then Clarion just turns to Abracadabra. It's like, isn't that what you use? He's like, shut up. And it's just great. So then they enter. Wally makes this huge. It's like the tower has like this sort of hologram of Nelson, and he's just like, state your business. And then Wally's like, we are true believers in search of Dr. Fate. And then they just get dropped into a pit of lava because that was bullshit. And of course, everybody, two out of 5 of them have a huge disadvantage when it comes to heat and fire. So that's not good. But Miss Martian figures it out that yeah, they had to actually answer truthfully, and then they're like, oh yeah, Red Tornado sent us. We're here looking for Nelson, Kent Nelson. And it's just like lava gets closed in. Superboy loses his boots in the lava, so I decided to come up with a new drinking game, guys. So anytime that Superboy loses an article of clothing, take a shot, because it happens pretty much every episode. That's like it's. I'm like, this happens a lot, and it will proceed to happen over the course of the next couple of episodes. It'll happen pretty much every episode we talk about, except for when it would make the most sense. We'll get to that in a bit. So next up, it's like they go through. They're like, well, it's Magic Wally, and like it's like Wally finally breaks and tells him that no, I'm a man of science. Everything has a scientific explanation. It's like, this is all bullshit. And then everybody's like, you're really against magic for a guy that can break the sound barrier in his sneakers. He's like, yeah, that's science. I replicated the Flash's laboratory experiment and got his speed. That's what happened. That's me. Which is sort of very telling about Wally, because like I think there's like this tie-in comic where it actually goes into his origin, and he goes out of his way to reproduce it, even though Flash is actually telling him, no, don't do that, that's dangerous. And he gets put in the hospital because of it, and then eventually gets his speed from it. But it's just great, and it's so telling of Wally's actual character, that he wants to do this probably more than anybody else, and legitimately put himself in harm's way to do it. So moving on, it's and of course he's talking about all the heat, the metal door that closed over the lava. It's like, it's cool to the touch. What's going on? And it's like, well, if you don't believe in magic, what about this? And they lift open a hatch, and the lava was just over, and it's snow. And they go through, and it's sideways, and they're like, explain that. Well, he's like, you ever heard of string theory? We're in a pocket dimension, duh. Then Wally just proceeds to just be that the entire rest of the episode, and it's great, even though he's literally faced with magic. So eventually they come across Nelson's cane, which is essentially his wand. So Artemis and Wally grab it at the same time, and they're whisked off over to the bad guys and Kent Nelson, who have made their way into the Tower of Fate because they just kind of left the door open, and they walked in. And it's kind of like this nice, like, Escher painting looking kind of place where staircases going all over the place. It's pretty nice visually. And then it's like they show up. Nelson's like, okay, that's my cue to leave. And then he just kind of jumps up, restraints, and then after that, it's like he just gets into an elevator, and it's just in the elevator with Artemis and Wally, and he's just like, and then they're talking. It's like, oh yeah, it's like abracadabra. Yeah, he just uses technology to simulate magic, and then it's like, and then Nelson's just like, yeah, that's exactly what abracadabra does. He's such a charlatan. The kid, on the other hand, he's the real deal. And so they take the elevator, and they're just, and then everybody converges because the rest of the team has just been walking in the snow the whole time, and then everybody sort of converges. They get into this huge battle. Abracadabra is sort of fighting everybody off, and then Wally and Kent go up to the roof where the Helmet of Fate is. Now, here's the thing about the Helmet of Fate, guys. Yes, science bitch, Jesse. Yeah, yep, pretty much exactly how that went. So, Kent, it's like he can't put on the helmet because he gets taken out of commission right away by Clarion, and he puts up a force field. He's like, I can't do it. This should buy you enough time to do what you need to do. And it's just he's looking up at the helmet. And he's like, I don't know what to do, guys. This is like, he's like, Clarion keeps attacking, gets magic claws into the barrier. It's like it's seconds from breaking, and then he puts the helmet on and becomes the new Dr. Fate. So here's where things get interesting. Wally puts on the helmet, and he's just kind of in a void, and Fate's just kind of taking his body for a ride now. He's got no control whatsoever. And Wally actually brings up a very interesting point: is why doesn't Fate actually allow them to work together to use Fate's magic plus Wally's speed would actually be a pretty potent combination, but that's just not how Nabu works. It's like, you put the helmet on, Nabu has full control, and it's terrifying. So unfortunately, through this whole thing, Abracadabra just sort of wrecks the rest of the team, which is very surprising because it's Abracadabra versus pretty much people with the strength of Martian Manhunter and Superman. And it's just like he just like, nope. So we get to it's like we get to the point where Clarion's got this cat, right? The cat's his familiar. You attack the familiar, he can't stay on the plane at all. It looks like Ashley and Davis or Ashley and Joe are all set. So once I'm done with this episode, I'll probably call you guys and calling in Joe's again, right? All right, so back on track. So Clarion retreats, but Fate's not taking off the helmet. So this is pretty important. Fate didn't really take too kindly to being just kind of locked away. So he's pretty much holding Wally's body hostage at this point. So, but this entire time, Kent's been, in there talking to Wally, just sort of guiding him through what's going on. And, the entire time he's been, talking about his now dead wife, which has been pretty sad, to say the least. He's like, his wife's dead, and he's like, he just wants to die, but he can't yet because he's got to stay behind and keep Nabu company until Wally can find a true successor to the Dr. Fate title. And yeah, it'll be something that'll be stretched along for a couple of episodes, like a good chunk of them. They'll be trying to find a replacement Dr. Fate, but Kent's soul just kind of gets stuck in there. Wally finally managed to escape, but before he leaves, Kent has some parting words for him that he has to find a little Spitfire that won't let him get away with nothing. Which, of course, he's referring to one of his teammates, but gets cut off right before he actually says who it is. But we all know who it is. Come on, guys, we're not stupid. He was very clearly talking about Artemis. And of course, takes the helmet back as souvenir, first souvenir of the group of these grouping of episodes. Puts the helmet back. We get a nice little look at all the other souvenirs we've collected up to this point, and has a nice little conversation saying, still, not believing in magic, even though he, actually clearly totally believes in magic because he was taken over by Dr. Fate, but he's got this like nice little, oh yeah, it's a helmet totally rewrote my beta wave, so I thought I was Dr. Fate for a bit. Oh well. And then runs off with take us to go see a magic show with Miss Martian. And that's how we end the episode. And oh boy, guys, it's my favorite episode. Well, at least of the early bunch, it's definitely my favorite episodes. We'll get to some more favorites later down the line, but of these like first half, it's probably my favorite. Just because how much I love Wally and just his character, and it's such a important episode for him. But enough of me talking. I'm going to go try to get somebody else in here so that I can have a little bit of break and actually breathe in between my Miss Martian, who lets Wally get away with everything. Yep. That is exactly what's going on, guys. All right, so which account am I calling? Am I calling Joe's account, Geek to My Nerd, or Ashley? I'll just try for all of them, and whichever one answers is the right one. I need to actually. Okay, I'll just sort of vamp for a couple minutes. So I'm actually really thirsty right now. Oh, oh. Call them until you get the right one. Yeah, that is pretty much. I forgot that my Firefox is over here. I'm like, I keep trying to open up Firefox. I'm like, why is it not working? I was like, oh yeah, it's over here because Google Chrome's over here because that works much better with Hangouts and stuff. So let me just get the right thing up. Message Joe. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There you go. All right, so I will send the invite to Joe now, and just whenever you guys join in, we'll start talking about the next episode. So I guess now I'll just sort of ready to send already. It's good. I was actually right on time there. Oh, hey guys.
I'm already answering it, phone.
Oh, all right.
Oh.
Welcome back to the show. All right.
Sorry, cats. I really enjoyed these episodes.
All right. Yeah. You got anything you want to talk about? Darn it, the Dr. Fate episode, whose name is, once again, as I totally remember, it is one of my favorite episodes. I just can never remember the actual name. Denial. Yep. Any thoughts of Denial before we move on?
Well, it's not just a river in Egypt, for starters.
I avoided making that joke because I knew you would.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that they point out that a lot of the magic superheroes or villains, outside of a handful of them, are just what you would call charlatans. Like Abracadabra uses high technology to replicate magic. They like point that out pretty early on. And when Wally brings up, it's probably just like photonic light shifting and this and this and this. And then someone asks Abracadabra, that's like, you use photonic light shifting and blah, 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 blah. And he's just like, yes. It's all like super depressed because he's just using technology to fake magic.
I didn't even get to talk about probably the best part of the episode, which is best part of the episode that's not a Wally part of the episode, and had Tom's saying that he just remembers episodes named with the one which is why they just named all the Friends episodes like that, which is actually very clever when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so my obvious favorite part of the episode is that after they take down Claire and the Witch Boy, Dr. Fate just sort of comes down, takes away everything of Abracadabra. Superboy gets up and just sort of punches him right in the face, and it's great. It's just probably one of the best pieces of animation ever.
Superboy has my vote for best Kryptonian because he's way more interesting than Superman because he has this thing called internal turmoil.
Yes,
that is obvious and not just brought out. It's like in Justice League Unlimited. One of my favorite scenes in that entire series is when Superman's fighting Doomsday, or not Doomsday, Apocalypse. I don't know.
Darkseid?
Yeah, Darkseid. World-ending villain. Who knows? Number 378. But when he's fighting Darkseid, and he goes on this huge speech about how like the world's made of cardboard to me, and I have to hold back every day, and that kind of jazz. And that's a peek into like Superman actually being a person. And
absolutely.
And with Superboy, we get Superboy being a person all the time. He's very much a person first, and earth-shattering superhero second.
Speaking of person first, let's move on to the next episode, Downtime, which is an episode name that I can remember because it's super easy.
Well, I mean, the Denial is it's like one side of that episode, but Downtime is like the whole point of that episode.
Yes. So, Downtime, and as you can imagine, it's about, all the team in their downtime. But it starts off with the team getting their butts handed to them by Clayface, and I think that's like it's pretty telling. It's like, yeah, Clayface is pretty strong.
Yeah.
It's like, and but the team comes back. Batman wants to pull Aqualad aside, which Robin gets a little bit jealous about. That he just wants to talk to Aqualad, but actually it does pertain just to Aqualad, not for him as a leader of the team, but him as Aqualad.
Yep.
And it's like you can't. It's like you weren't focused. You were here, but your mind was elsewhere, wasn't it? He's like, yes, I need to. I've just been thinking so much about Atlantis because he's been gone for 2 months, and it's like
basically he's homesick.
Yeah, he's pretty homesick, and he's got a girl that he's been thinking about the entire time, and oh boy, there's no way that can go wrong, right? So Batman decides to have everybody go home and de-stress. So it's like it's nice. We got this nice one plot of it's Aqualad's main story, but then we get these nice little vignettes of everybody in their home life. And I'll just sort of go through all theirs first before we touch on the Aqualad story, because I think it just sort of makes sense because it is a back and forth, but they really don't have very much to do with each other. And if we get these out of the way, we can get to the meat of the episode.
Yeah.
Let's see. So one of the first ones we get Robin, training. He's just not happy that Batman only wanted to talk to Aqualad, and he punches like a crater into a concrete wall. He's like, ugh, I only want to talk to Aqualad. And Batman is like, this is probably one of the times that he made this decision not as Batman but as Bruce Wayne.
Mm.
And he sends Alfred in to go. Ashley pointing out that's how Friends titled their episodes. I guess she wasn't didn't hear me say that already. I guess
maybe slightly behind. The feed is always a little off.
Yeah.
Watching congruently.
Yeah. So we've got it's like he pulls Robin aside, and they get to have a nice one-on-one of basketball to sort of de-stress and be, father and son like they should be when they're not being Batman and Robin.
Which is a weird moment of sweetness for him, because even as Bruce Wayne or Batman, he's never exactly the most nurturing individual.
That is absolutely true, but it's like it's this nice human moment for him, and it's nice to actually see it, especially with all the him just being brooding always. It's like it's nice that to know he actually cares about Dick, you know.
Phrasing.
Yeah. Anyway, our next little vignette. I don't know if these are in the right order or not, but our next one, it's of Miss Martian and Superboy in the cave, and Miss Martian wants to help make dinner, and Superboy is just watching Static on the TV. Not the show Static, actual Static. It's like we're not ready for actual Static yet.
But did they announce him recently or something at Comic-Con? Because I know
it's like just bumping ahead of it. He was a part of season 2, but like only like a bit of the half of it, and he wasn't really fully a part of the team until the end. But he's going to be a full part of the team season 3. So yes, they did announce that he is going to stay at Comic-Con, which is great. They haven't really gotten much of Static in the last couple of years.
Nice. I actually really liked that show growing up. I mean, I know that's off topic, but I watched Static Shock a lot when I was a kid.
Static Shock is a great show. It's actually probably one of my favorites of the DCAU, which is surprising of a show that has Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Animated Series, New Adventures of Batman and Robin, and Superman the Animated Series. Batman Beyond too, that one, yeah, and the spinoff to Batman Beyond that nobody remembers.
So much.
Right? So it's like, and then Miss Martian's sort of telekinetically throwing all the ingredients to Superboy without looking, and just sort of makes a mess. And she sort of starts like brushing him off. It's like it's the one episode where he probably should have taken off his shirt but didn't. In case you missed it before, I said I'm going to make a new drinking game. Every time Superboy loses an article of clothing, take a shot.
Right.
Because it happens all the time.
Social cues.
So they have this like sort of romantic moment, and then Red Tornado walks in, and they're both sort of just not looking at each other, just sort of back to what they were doing.
Right.
And it's
incredibly. I like how he walks in, looks around at like Superboy covered in like cooking or baking ingredients, sitting on the couch with an awkward look on his face, and I think he's still shirtless. Just like it looks like he's watching Static on TV, and like she's like trying to clean up, and he just looks at both of them and walks out.
Yeah. He doesn't care. He's a robot.
I imagine what's going through his mind right now. He's just over. He's like, Tuesday, right? Walks off.
Yep. So our next little vignette is probably it's another great one. It's Jay Garrick's birthday, and everybody's all gathered, and I believe that's Barry's house, because I believe they use it later for Barry's house as well. So they're all celebrating Jay Garrick's birthday. Got Jay Garrick, Barry Allen, Wally West all in the same house with all the the important people. Jay's wife, Iris, Wally's parents, all in one place, and they all have the nice little conversations about going fast and Wally eating all the ice cream, and it's great.
Can we point out how crappy it must be to be in that family? Like, just the worst, because it's just like, we love Barry and Wally as characters, and they are, but I would never want to live under the same roof as any of them, because it would just, like, speedsters are a-holes. And it's not even that they try to be, but you have Wally over there literally devouring the entire pint of or quart of ice cream while they're waiting.
I think that was a gallon. I think that was a gallon of ice cream.
Yeah, whatever it was. He's just like going through it because it's a Tuesday at the Allen household, and it's just
it's just another day. But hey, you know what? All those dishes got cleaned up very fast. There's that. Just imagine how quick chores go.
You know what? I would imagine, like, if Wally had to do chores, he would even like drag his heels and procrastinate to get that done, because even though it's super fast, it still takes forever for him because he's a teenager, and they're just like,
he does one chore. He does one chore per bad guy he locks up.
Right.
Yeah. So then of course we get almost the exact opposite of that as we go to Artemis's sort of crap hole of an apartment with her mom that's in a wheelchair, and it's just super depressing and dark, and find
Her
out
mom
that
wheelchair that knows she's a superhero.
yes, and there's reasons that she knows.
Oh yeah.
Beyond that, but I won't get into that because that's spoiler territory. And I want to try to keep you guys, with as little information going forward. I already spoiled the statics in the future. That's Comic-Con leaks, and you're aware of the show that's gonna happen.
Yep.
So that's like, and she gets this nice little letter from the Wayne Foundation about a scholarship that she gets to go to Gotham Academy, and as we go back and remember, it's Robin's school. So she's going to be going to school with Robin. And and I would also like to point out that still there's only one member of the team that actually knows Robin's secret identity.
Yep.
And now, of course, all those vignettes are out of the way. I'll get to the meat of the story, which is an Aqualad story. And oh boy, guys, this is a good one. So Aqualad comes back to the kingdom of Atlantis, starts talking with all these people. He runs into one of his old friends who has this nice little sort of animated thing that goes on, basically telling the origin story of Aqualad, where he actually helped save Aquaman from Ocean Master, along with Garth, who, as everybody would usually know, is the person who would normally be going as Aqualad.
Yep. I remember him being Aqualad from Teen Titans. I'm
yes.
Like, Garth, I don't know this Garth guy. And then when I saw the full artwork of him, I'm like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
I know who he is.
Yep, that's Aqualad, or rather Tempest. So it's like he goes and he's like, have you seen Garth and Tula, who is essentially the person that Aqualad's been sort of obsessing over this entire time. So he finds them training with Queen Mira, Aquaman's wife, and
who, by the way, is way more awesome than Aquaman.
Oh yeah. That's like by the way, on the way in, it's like he met Aquaman. Aquaman's telling him about a dinner that they're having. So he's like, "Can I bring somebody?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sure." And of course, he wants to bring Tula.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes in and sort of interrupts their training and invites Tula. And it's like, and Tula's like, "I've got more class later, so you know what? I will see you at dinner." And then Tula and Garth sort of go away, and Garth's just like, "You have to tell him." And
it's like we, as the audience, can see it telegraphed from a mile away, but it takes for the story to just get to it.
So, meanwhile, Aquaman's brother, who, if you didn't know, he's Ocean Master. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I had always thought that, like, wait, isn't this like an Inhuman style thing where Aquaman's brother really is like a villain and he's always trying to take Atlantis over and crap?
Also, a little bit of a spoiler: we never actually get that stated in this show at all. It's like, yeah, a little bit of Ocean Master here. A lot of just talk of King's brother, the prince.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Because he genuinely seems like a pretty decent guy in this one. Like, he actually cares about all of them, even his brother and all that crap. So, I don't know. Maybe it's like Garth is normally Aqualad. Maybe in this particular universe, he's not actually Ocean Master.
I mean, I'll get into why he actually is when we get to it, but we'll move on. So he has been he's been studying this sort of ancient sea star that's giant and frozen, but it's still living underneath there.
Right.
So it's like he's studying it because he's the king of the science of down there, because Aquaman can't be bothered with science.
Aquaman can't handle science.
No, probably not. But then everybody sort of converges with dinner. Converges at dinner. It's Aquaman, his wife, his brother, Aqualad, and Tula just sort of all sitting down. He's like, Aqualad, I've been considering joining you guys back at the conservatory. He's like, Mira's just like, you've been gone for a while. You aren't going to be in their class. And then Aqualad's like, well, perhaps I'll need a tutor.
And then this awkward look. I'm like, dude, can you not read the telegraphed signs?
Yeah, no, he can't. But we get Mira announcing that. By the way, I wanted everybody here to know that I'm pregnant. And then it's like, yes, and then Aqualad's like, finally, a true heir to the throne. And then turns to Aquaman's brother. Sorry, Prince, I didn't mean it like that.
At least he's considerate.
Yes. Yeah. But then, unfortunately, there's explosions all across the city. And everybody goes to investigate all these explosions. And, of course, it's Black Manta and his crew, and who is the other very big Aquaman villain.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you need a recognizable Aquaman villain that even non-Aquaman fans know who it is, it's Black Manta.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, where was this Black Manta when every other time Black Manta's ever been shown? Because this guy was hardcore.
Oh yeah, Black Manta is some serious business, and they put a lot into Black Manta for reasons I'm not going to get into, because I want you to experience that revelation on your own. So we've got Black Manta sort of exploding 4 out of 5 sectors of the city. Guess which one he's not exploding? The one with the sea star. So it's like, it's all diversion. We've got to go there. But unfortunately, in the fight, Tula got knocked down, trying to protect Garth. And it's like, of course, this is at the point where Tula reveals that she is in fact in a relationship with Garth. So like he sort of bitterly turns to Garth and is like, your place is here with Tula, and just sort of bolts off.
You ever think that maybe, like, if Aquaman wasn't such a dick, his brother wouldn't be trying to take over the kingdom?
A little bit. But can't dwell on that. So we've got Aqualad sort of trying to suss out the situation. Garth catches up with him, and it's like, but then Aqualad sort of disappears and then knocks out 2 Black Manta guards. Robin style is like, I too have my studies, and it's probably one of the best things. So they take their outfits and they sort of try to sneak their way in, but Black Manta just realizes right away that this is Aqualad, so he's like, oh, it's amazing, isn't it? Aqualad. He's just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And they just sort of
totally shows this guy is an awesome mercenary beast.
Oh yeah. And it's like we get this fight, and they got this cable sort of reeling up the Sea Star, and then Aqualad takes out the cable, brings the Sea Star down, and Black Manta sort of overreacts. If you don't know what's about to happen later on, sort of overreacts, and he's like, if I can't have it, no one can, and blows the thing up.
Yep.
And sort of just escapes. So Aqualad's like, okay, my place is up on the surface doing this Aqualad thing. You guys, do your thing here. Comes in, he's like, yeah, this is all we have, but with the lab destroyed, we can't research it. So maybe the surface world will have a better job with it. And of course, this is all part of Plan B, which Black Manta wants it to be on the surface, which is why he blew it up, so that blew up. It might be out of the Light's hands for now, but it's all part of their plan.
Yep. Freaking Light or Illuminati or whatever they're called.
The Light. The Illuminati is a good guy group of Marvel.
Well, yeah, I know. Good. I mean, good guy. Yeah, exactly.
And this all leads directly into the next episode, Barafit, or whatever it's actually how it's actually pronounced. It's like, maybe I should look up what this word means. It probably means something about memory, but I don't know.
Can't remember.
So this episode, it's like, get a little bit of an introduction that they have to go into Bialia, and but unfortunately, we open up the episode. It's Miss Martian, and she has no idea what she's doing. In fact, she starts off the episode just talking in Martian, and like it's like, no, we have no idea what's going on. She wakes up, she's camouflaged, she doesn't know. She looks around. It's like, where am I? It's like, where am I? This is Earth, and then she starts flying around because she's so happy she's on Earth.
And it's once she realizes she's on Earth, she does the "Hello, Megan," which is her first words in English.
Yeah.
When she's thinking to herself, and I'm just like, God, this character. It's charming, but it's like, it's an Urkel level of "did I do that?" And it's just kind of like, did she watch TV on Mars all the time and think, I need a catchphrase if I'm going to Earth? Everyone on Earth has a catchphrase.
I mean, she did mention that it's nothing like she's seen on TV. So this is where we get the revelation that a lot of what Miss Martian knows about Earth is what she's learned from TV.
Yep. Sorry. Davis household problems.
Yep. Yeah, the cats are having none of Hello, Megan.
Nope.
All right. So we get to it's like we then get to Superboy, who of course rips off his shirt and starts going berserk. Why? We don't know. And then we move on to Wally and Artemis waking up in a shack, and they obviously don't know each other. And we also find out that through Robin that he has no memory of the past 6 months, which give Joe a little bit. Okay, so
keep going. I'm listening. I just gotta fix it.
All right. So it's like we find out that there's no memory of the last 6 months, which does explain just a little bit of why Superboy's going crazy. He doesn't have any memories past 6 months, so he's just sort of rough animal instincts. So we get Wally and Artemis in the shack, and it's sort of like a little reset of their terrible first introductions of each other, and you see a lot of that actual chemistry that Kent very clearly saw in the two of them, and just sort of like actual nice little things. We get Artemis sort of not really recognizing Wally because he's not wearing the yellow suit. He's wearing his black suit because it's stealth mission. He's like, put me in this, as she sort of just realizes that she's in a superhero costume, and it's just sort of ridiculous. And it's probably one of the better parts of the episode where she's just like, this is dumb. Why am I dressed like this? Who put me in this? Whose idea was this? And she sort of has this little aside. It's like, that's probably this is probably my dad's doing one of his little tests. And it's like, a little bit of a more of a hint about Artemis's parentage. But if we are just moving on a bit, it's like, Superboy's just having a rampage through all of Bialia. Robin has one of the best lines in the entire episode back when he was checking the date. It's like, Bialian soldiers. What are Bialian soldiers doing in Bialia? Better question. What am I doing in Bialia?
I like Robin because he's kind of like Batman without the emotional trauma, so he can actually be snarky and fun like we all would want to be if we were Batman. Sans the emotional trauma.
Yes, that's like Batman pretty much has that exact sentiment in a later episode when they're just, the Justice League is just sort of talking about all the individual members, and then it's just like Batman's like, It's like, you did this so he'd be like you? No, I did this so he wouldn't. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. He's not like you. He's like him.
It's like he's got the skills and the knowledge and the ability that Batman has, or close. You know, he's up and coming, needs more time, kind of thing. But he definitely doesn't have the angst and gloom and, quite frankly, reasons I want to punch Batman in the face sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. So it's like with more of the episode going along, we get Miss Martian encountering the group of Wally and Artemis, and Wally's like, it's actually pretty great. It's this nice little inversion of what's going on in the show right now, where he's swearing to Artemis that I've never seen her before in my life. She's just this weird person. So I don't know. It's just like it's so nice because this is what would happen if he met Artemis before Miss Martian and did make a fool out of himself the first time. And it's like, oh yeah, we're a team. And then they finally encounter Robin. It's like, okay, and Miss Martian's like, okay, we really need to reassemble our memories to try to figure out what's going on. But Artemis is like, no, I don't do that, please. And she's very, very, very defensive about any of them actually learning anything about her, which is very interesting.
Yep.
Because we've got her connection to Cheshire, as shown in episode 6. We've got, what was that episode? Yeah, it was episode 6. Or was it 5? Fuck, I don't remember. It was one of them. But it was episode 6. Yes, it was. Episode 5 was Amazo. I remember now. Ashley's asking what time Tom's show is today, and I know that answer. That answer is at 3:00. Is this week's 3:00 Eastern time is this week's episode of Cars and Popcorn? I know that. I will plug that now.
Because we're central.
Yes, so that's 2:00 for you guys. All right, so now that I've plugged Cars and Popcorn and gotten that out of the way, before Tom can even come on the show, let's move on. So they all sort of reconnect everybody's memories, just sort of only using memories of each other, and we get this nice little flashes of all these different things that's happened, including all the mission briefing where we find out that they're here to investigate something that Queen Bee has been up to, and
country.
She is the Queen of Bialia. Okay. Yeah, we'll go a little bit more into Queen Bee when she has her own episodes. She'll be back, and she'll actually be here. So they all sort of regain their memory. Wally and Artemis just sort of like, nope, we weren't holding hands. Nope.
We don't actually like each other. What's this?
No. Oh. And then and we get this nice little scene of Wally asking, now, why would your dad want to kill me? It's like, well, I was watching this movie the other day where this ninja girl was tasked to kill her ninja boyfriend by her ninja dad, who was a part of a rival ninja clan. He's like, so I'm your ninja boyfriend now, huh? It's just like, love that dynamic so much.
Hello, Wally.
Yeah, literally. Please. So we've got all of them sort of remembering everything, and then they realize sort of all at once, oh shoot, Aqualad, he's kind of just stranded in the desert as an Atlantean. He's not doing all that great.
No.
So they're like, we gotta find him, and we gotta find Superboy. So they all find Aqualad, and he's muttering to himself in Atlantean, much like Miss Martian was muttering to herself in Martian. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it's like, well, Wally, can you carry him back? He's like, I could barely carry Artemis. Like, because
I like how he constantly makes reference to the fact that his tank's on empty because I don't think Barry has the issues Wally does because like Speed Force functions differently for him or something. He's got a high metabolism, but Wally always seems to need food. And I guess it's because he's also growing at the same time as running really fast. So teenager metabolism plus speedster metabolism equals bad.
Yeah,
but
that's especially since he got his speedster metabolism as a child.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, I think it's hilarious because we never see this for Flash, but Wally has like compartments on his suit where he keeps snacks. And I imagine they're like those high yield protein bars or crap like that.
They absolutely are. It's like he's out of his reserves, which means they've been out there for at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
So we've got it's like we've got most of the team sort of dragging Aqualad back to the ship, and we've got Miss Martian sort of going to go save Superboy, who is now in pain because he got captured by the troops and is currently being tortured by this episode's villain, Simon. Oh, Simon.
Simon's pretty cool.
Simon is pretty cool, guys. He is a very strong telepath, and we soon find out with Miss Martian sort of, going in for the rescue on Superboy that Simon's the one that erased their memories by attacking Miss Martian while they were all connected, and just wiping everybody's memories altogether. And we get to watch as everybody just sort of just disperses, and it's like, oh man, Simon ain't messing around. But over the course of the battle, we find that you got Superboy. No, not Simon Gruber. We got Superboy finally, being released, and we've got this sort of weird sphere, as you would call it, and as they will proceed to call it in the rest of the series, sort of being experimented on by the Bialian soldiers. And Superboy, kind of makes contact with Miss Martian, sort of goes into this, enters in with this like mind battle that Miss Martian and Simon are having, and then Miss Martian's like, it's like, Superboy, finally. And then we get Simon saying, what use is that fool going to have? It's like, is he going to help you? No, I'm going to help him, and just sort of like and fixes Superboy's memory. And then it's like it has all these nice little flashes of all that, including the scene that they shared last episode, and some sort of weird scene that probably means nothing of Megan saying hello, Megan, and then a laugh track going behind it. Who knows what that could possibly be? And Superboy's mind is fixed, and we get Superboy back to normal. He just turns to Megan. He's like, kick his butt, and then leaves. And then just like, then they just go on this all-out fight, and Superboy's fighting in the real world, and everybody's still dragging Aqualad's sorry butt to the ship. So it's just them. They eventually free the sphere. So Superboy takes out all the guards, goes back to help Megan one last time. It's like, and like, it's like, you're strong, I'm stubborn. We'll do this together. And then they take out Simon. Like they episode 1 Yu-Gi-Oh him, shatter, and he's just sort of defeated.
I love the imagery of these psychic battles that they have in this show because it's really interesting that it's almost like hackers and some sort of like sci-fi dystopian post-punk series thing.
Oh yeah, it's pretty great. So we get through. As like they finally defeat Simon. Sphere is freed, and so it takes a liking to Superboy, and Superboy just turns to Meg and is like, "Can we keep it?" And then
got an affinity for strays.
Yeah, so we everybody makes it back to the ship. Aqualad's like, Not Aqualad. Aqualad's, yeah. I'll talk about Aqualad. Aqualad's still not fixed, and of course, Wally's like, "Oh man, I didn't grab a souvenir." Miss March is like, "Don't worry, we got that one covered, Wally." And of course, they're coming around with Sphere, and Aqualad's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Hello, Megan. We still have to fix Aqualad." Oops. Yeah, that's like you did this entire mission literally without your leader.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, it happens.
And then, of course, we get to the end of the episode, and very like usual, we get this scene with the light. It's Simon speaking with the light. It's like, we lost the Kryptonian and the sphere. However, the delivery system of our partner is working quite well. And then we see footage of Sphere landing through a boom tube.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know what that means, guys. It's like, pretty soon, our partner will soon send us stuff that will eclipse both the sphere and the Superboy. And oh boy, guys,
So
that
be using the boom tube. That's the issue.
uh,
Like, because I know that's a technology from Apocalypse, right?
yeah,
And the Justice League is now basically using that themselves because that's their
mm-hmm.
teleportation system to get around, right?
Yeah. Essentially, everybody uses boom tubes in the series. This is probably the most boom tube usage you will see in any animated thing because it just makes things a lot easier.
It makes sense too. Like Superman and maybe Flash are like the only people I can think of that can literally be anywhere they want to be within minutes because they can
Mm-hmm.
move so quickly. Everyone else has to take vehicles, and when you're going from like, I mean, because I don't remember, is Star City supposed to be close to like
I
or
think I think Star City is West Coast ish,
okay,
and
yeah, because it feels really like San Francisco-y or
yeah,
something.
and I think Central City is sort of Midwest ish. I
Yeah,
think.
I imagine Central City somewhere close to like Chicago, somewhere in that region.
Yeah.
But I love that, which this is a call out to an old episode, but I love that they actually put Gotham on the map, and it's
Yeah.
not one of the existing cities. They basically canonize, in at least this setting, that like New York and Chicago and all these other major cities exist, but Gotham and
Metropolis and all those cities actually exist.
they're just like in
And
different places. I'm like, okay, I like that.
and of course everybody's favorite town, Happy Harbor, Rhode Island. The setting of the show, Happy Harbor, Rhode Island. What?
Whatever. You know what? At least their
It's,
location makes way more sense than the Teen Titans.
yes, it does. A hidden in plain sight cave makes a lot more sense than a very obvious tower.
Yes.
So, moving on to the final episode that we're doing, and I guess now is a good time to actually bring in Tom Zambino. Probably not going to get other Tom because he didn't wake up. He's not here. Oh well, he
It
missed
happened.
it again. He missed it again. Going to continuously make fun of him for that. So I'm going to get Tom in here for the episode that he's actually seen. All right, so. Wait, duh. What am I doing? I'm trying to manually search. I'm like, wait, I actually have his thing from. Oh, my mouse is going crazy right now. Okay, there we go. I actually have his thing from. Oh, encryption. Just gotta keep scrolling back, and it's taking back the load. I really gotta actually save all these in a file. It's like I keep going back and like, oh wait, when was this? Oops.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
That was unexpected.
Should be around here somewhere. I think I passed it actually. Start looking for. Oh, there we go. Okay, now here we are. Here we go. Copy. This is not fun.
One would imagine.
There we go. Okay, got that. All right, Tom's headphones are plugged in. He should be here any minute, or any second, rather.
Nice.
Then we can get to talk about probably one of the most different episodes of the group Targets. Well, so I guess nothing's really more different than Downtime, but Targets is also pretty different because we're not even following a member of the team for most of the episode.
Right?
Yeah. All right, so it looks like Tom's in. Tom, can you say something so I can verify that you're actually making sound?
Greetings, sir.
Okay, there we go.
Welcome, Tom.
All right, so we got Tom, host of Cars and Popcorn, here, finally, for the one episode he saw.
You see, I saw the little thumbnail of the picture you tweeted, and I saw 10. I'm like, oh, one episode. This is an easy week. I can do that.
Nope. I mean, definitely go back and watch all the episodes I have talked about because they are great, and I probably haven't done a lot of them justice.
Ponder.
Justice.
Yeah, yep. All right, so moving on to Targets. Here we go, guys. It's our first return villain of two, actually. Both Cheshire and Sportsmaster make their return in this episode. And it's also an episode that pretty much focuses mainly on Roy.
Yeah, someone who's not officially part of the team.
Yeah, he's a friend of the team more so than an actual member. But it's like we start off the episode. It's Roy sort of trying to stop an assassination attempt, calling Aqualad. It's like, give me the height of Cheshire, please. He's like, oh, would you like our help? No, I just need your computer.
Right?
It's like,
dick move, Roy.
Fine. I mean, I'll help you because you're my friend, but yeah, we could help you. And he points like, I don't need the help of the Junior Justice League. And he's just sort of putting down the team all the time because he's like, I can do this on my own. I don't need help.
He doesn't. Yeah, he's putting the team down all the time because he's a dick.
Yeah. But you know what? I'll put that past him. It's like, but on the other part of this episode, we've got Superboy and Miss Martian preparing to go to high school. And it's exactly what you would think. It's Superboy and Miss Martian going to high school.
I love at one point they asked, they're like doing like a history class or whatever like the founding of Bialy is the question, and almost like a freaking like wiki article reads off the history of the country.
yeah, that's great. But to go to school, Superboy needs a name. He's kind of gone like 9 episodes so far without a name, and I'm gonna put a pin in this, and we'll talk about this at another point. But Miss Martian already had a name picked out for him, Connor.
Not weird at all.
No, not weird at all. And it's like it's not going to come up later that she already had that name picked out. Not at all. That's like these past couple episodes that I've been alluding to aren't going to add up to something at all. Nothing. No, nothing at all.
I do love the last name though. Like was it Red Tornado is the one who?
No, it was Martian Manhunter. He's like, perhaps the name Kent.
Yeah, the last name Kent. And then like it's either Megan or someone else is like,
it's
Megan. It totally makes sense because of our lost friend Connor, or what's his Mr. Kent,
Kent Nelson.
Kent Nelson, who was the original
Dr. Fate.
The Dr. Fate, and he's just like, yes, that's why.
Yeah, because none of them know about Clark Kent. Well, other than
right, of course, the secret identities of most of these people are kept relatively secret. And I just think it's hilarious that like Martian Manhunter's reaction to her saying that is just priceless, and he's just like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Megan?
I'm waiting for the hello, Megan. When she
Yes.
realizes, like when they find out who Clark Kent is, and he's like, "Oh, hello, Megan."
That's actually when that scene does happen, it's actually really sweet. And I don't want to spoil anything that happens around that, but
Right.
that scene is coming. It's going to be nothing like you expect. So we get to it's like we get them we get Superboy's like I was like, all right, I'll just go to school like this. He's like, Megan's like, you can't go to school wearing your costume. You got to keep your secret identity. So he's
mean-
like, yeah, takes off his shirt, turns it inside out. He's like, is this fine?
No, because everyone's going to comment on his tag being out in real
Yeah.
life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But what's weird about a dude going to school in a Superman shirt? What's weird about that?
See,
Exactly
right?
nothing. Exactly nothing because they get to school and everybody's wearing a superhero shirt.
And is it common knowledge that the Justice League's base of operations used to be there?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, that whole scene makes like 100% more sense now because like I get that like people love superheroes in this world, which is almost like Stockholm syndrome to me because it seems like there's way more collateral damage in the DC universe than the Marvel. More often because Superman's constantly stopping like massive construction accidents and all sorts of other crap, but that makes way more sense that like everybody's wearing superhero shirts now because if you live on the island where historically the Justice League or Justice Society or whatever was,
Yeah.
then you're gonna have an attachment to that.
Oh yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
remember back when, going back to every disaster, everyone always wears like New York Fire Department shirts and has stickers all the time. So even if
Well, yeah,
like a
the
disaster
New York
happening,
Fire the New York Fire Department's not typically plowing aliens through buildings.
That is true. That is true. I live in New York.
not
That's not
yet,
what
not with that attitude.
I guess that's fair.
maybe in the next Avengers movie, but anyway, little rundown of all these students that they got. They got Marvin and Wendy, who are characters that were introduced in one of the Super Friends shows. We've got Mal Duncan and the future Bumblebee, also there.
That makes more sense now.
Yeah, it makes more sense that they're the Bumblebees, the Hornets. We've got Bumblebee here. But yeah, we also have Mal Duncan, who's also a future superhero as well. This is a nice little introduction of all these other characters that are going to play parts later down the line as well. Both in future school episodes and in the future superhero wing. It's a nice little way to sort of introduce these characters before they actually get any actual use.
I did find it funny the little bump that Superboy and I guess whoever that guy in the Superman shirt was. That's
Mal Duncan.
just that trope of Superboy looking at him like I could tear you apart in an instant, but I
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah.
It's very Rocky at some point because he's up in his face like I will break you.
Yes. Yeah. Then of course we get the it's like going back to the whole thing that Roy's doing because we got to actually talk about the meat of the episode as much as some of you might not want to. It's like Roy stops the assassination attempt of Cheshire, who was trying to assassinate Lex Luthor, guys. We're getting some big time villains now. That's like first our biggest villain was Bane. Now we got Lex and Raish Al Ghul, as we will pronounce for this episode, for this series, because this is how they pronounce it in this iteration. It's Raish, not Roz. Raish.
Because it's correct.
Because it's correct. Hello, Ashley.
Well,
All right. So we've got both Sportsmaster and Cheshire trying to stop this peace treaty between North Rhodesia and South Rhodesia, who are very sort of a combination of Vietnam and Korea sort of, in the way that they're doing everything, where everything was split after World War II, and they're just sort of always at odds. And
it really feels like they're trying to pull a Korea, because the North Malaysia leader looks a lot like the Kim family.
Yes, yeah. It's like that is very apparent that they are definitely going heavy in the Korea department on that front. But they've got Lex Luthor sort of being the mediator of this, and Roy's like, why did they choose you to be the mediator? Aren't you funding the war on both ends? And then Lex just sort of has this nice little retort, like, a peaceful Malaysia will get me much more money than a warring Malaysia.
Yeah. Weapons are cheap. Construction is timeless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, because if Luthor could secure, peace between the Malaysias into maybe even having them at some point reunite, that could be a lot of business.
Yep.
Well, it just makes him look good too. It's like Lex Luthor, harbinger of peace. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that is 100% Lex's MO entirely. He's like, do make it look like I'm doing a lot of good while I'm also doing a lot of bad, as we will go in later in the episode. But as we find out, they captured Cheshire after that first attempt, and is being broken out by Sportsmaster, who they also seem to have this sort of odd connection where, Sportsmaster got Cheshire the job in the first place, and they have this sort of meanness that they have towards each other.
Yeah, they don't seem to like each other.
No, they don't, do they?
I get that. Sportsmaster's kind of, he's a meathead.
I mean, I love Sportsmaster. Oh, my phone just sort of, no, okay, maybe. I keep trying to see if nope, he's still not awake. Yeah, he would have replied at all if he's awake.
Oh yeah.
Other Tom, you're officially real Tom now because Bennis is just asleep. So you're officially real Tom now, Sabino.
You're Tom One.
Actually, if you were both going to come here, I was going to make the joke that he's odd-shaped Tom and you're car-shaped Tom.
Ciao.
I'm making a nice little call out of a conversation we had on Twitter the other day, where we finally figured out what caused the Cars universe, and it's Tom. All right, so moving on.
I told you that in secrecy, by the way.
You said that in secrecy that we discussed on a public setting already. Twitter is about as public as it gets. Saying it on Twitter is more public than saying it on this show. So
it's fair.
Fair point.
So moving on from that distraction, we've got that's like we've got Sportsmaster and Cheshire sort of reporting to their boss Ra's al Ghul, who is both their master and their client, and super mad that he didn't kill Lex Luthor. And it's like, and especially for letting him just watch this entire thing, and then they turn around and Roy's just there. He's like, "Oops." And then Sportsmaster has sort of the worst comeback ever. I hear you're calling yourself Red Arrow now. More like Broken Arrow. And it's like, man, how
he broke his bow?
Man, I guess he just wanted to work in the term Broken Arrow and just sort of had no, use. It's like no good thing in it, huh?
It's one of those things where like Roy's comeback should have been, dude, leave the witty witty retorts to smarter supervillains because you're not good at it.
I mean, he probably said that, but we cut right back to the school during that point.
Right. Because that's what we want to see when there's a peace treaty and assassination thing going on half the world away. We want to see the daily lives of superheroes going to school.
I mean,
fair, that is way more entertaining than other stuff they're talking about. The school stuff is way more entertaining.
The school stuff is pretty great. So of course you've got Miss Martian trying out to be a cheerleader.
That was my favorite part.
And we got Superboy watching along, and they dump the water on him. He's just like, and just sort of like goes in. And he's like, and Megan's like, "No, Superboy, stop! Connor, stop!" And then he just sort of tumbles and it falls on his face. It's like, well, it's just this sort of archaic ritual that I wish my teammates would stop. But welcome to the Hornets. Miss Martian becomes a cheerleader. And then moving on, we go back to the assassination attempt. You might quietly bail for a sound check there, Tom. Couldn't just say that.
I said quietly. You just said it loudly.
I mean, it's in the chat.
But it
That doesn't make noise, does it?
Conversation.
Yeah, true. All right, so it's like we got ended the fight there. We got Roy knocked into the water. He's like, he calls in one of the things like, yeah, I might need help after all. And of course, the help he calls is Aqualad. And we get this nice little fight with Aqualad, Sportsmaster, Cheshire, and a whole bunch of random ninjas in the actual peace negotiation with both Relasias.
And Lex Luthor.
And Lex Luthor, of course. And, of course, they stop it. Aqualad sets up this water shield. They got the explosion on the other side. And it's like this whole fight breaks loose. And then Sportsmaster sort of casually drops that he has all this information about what all the team's going when he's fighting Aqualad. He's like, yeah, that's right. I've got an inside source. And it sort of just, just makes Aqualad lose his focus for a bit, and he gets knocked away. And then, of course, that's like as they're going through this fight, it's like this entire time, Lex Luthor has been around with his usual secretary, Mercy, but Mercy's a little bit more than a secretary this time around, as she brings up her arm and opens up a cannon and opens fire.
Right.
Oh,
Mega Mercy over here.
I mean, could you imagine if that was the Mercy we got in Batman versus Superman?
The one in the animated movie that was like the Batman v Superman one was way more awesome.
Dark Knight Returns.
Live
Dark Knight
action.
Returns, and yes, it was.
Yeah, but just imagine if we got that in BVS as opposed to just the one that dies without a second thought.
Now, if Mercy shows back up in a later DC live action movie, then we really know what's going on.
Oh, yes, we do. So, of course, both Relasias are stunned by this impressive show of power by Lex Luthor. Declares that he saved them both, and that they are going to negotiate peace because he saved them.
And then Roy's sitting over here like,
Yeah, Roy, and then it's just like Aqualad's like, forget it, we won. It's like if they negotiate peace, there's no reason for the League to attack anymore, so we're good.
it probably wouldn't have been such I'd imagine Roy is really pissed that this is what brought peace between the two countries.
Yeah,
but
he's a little bit.
It would be less bothersome for Roy if it wasn't for the fact that it was Lex Luthor as the one that is getting the credit for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's not a huge fan of Lex Luthor.
Can't think of many people in the superhero community that are.
Yeah, but of course we've got this nice little ending scene where it's Aqualad and Roy's just sort of like, look, dude. And first Aqualad's like, you could have called Green Arrow for help, but instead you decided to call us. And he's like, you know what? I've been really down on you guys a lot, and I'm really new to this whole solo act. So he's just been acting out because he is just still mad about the way that they were treated in the first episode. So he's like, look, if you need me, I'm there. And they sort of had this.
He's not part of the team, but he's kind of part of the team.
Yeah, but I do think it's this nice little reconciliation of him just sort of being at odds with them and just sort of like, yeah, dude, I've just been a dick. Sorry.
Yep.
But of course, in the actual little end scene, we've got Lex Luthor talking to Ra's al Ghul, and they're like, looks like our little plan worked. That's like, cheers to the light. So, guys, we have our first official confirmation of two actual members of the light, Lex Luthor and Ra's al Ghul.
Yep.
These two aren't working for the light. These two are the light. Well, at least two actual members of the light.
They're part of the light. They're like two colors on the light spectrum.
Yeah, they it's like for example, like Sportsmaster, Simon, they're working for the light. These two are members of the light. Light's sort of like think of the light sort of like as the World Council from the Avengers,
yeah.
but evil. Well, eviler.
Or like the Illuminati from the Marvel or the Marvel comic universe, but
Yes,
evil.
Actually evil.
Yeah,
Intentionally evil.
Not just like accidentally making things worse when they're trying to make them better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's all of our episodes that we've covered for this week. This is by far the longest episode we've done so far, but also the actual round where I want episodes to be when we're actually have all these people to talk to, and it's not just me talking about 4 episodes by myself.
It's fair.
Yeah. So this is actually around the ideal length that I want to have these episodes. So any final thoughts of episodes for you, Ashley and Joe, and the one episode for you, Tom?
No, we covered most of it. Do you have anything?
I just thought that Miss Martian's cheer was super lame. I don't know how she made the team other than some kind of plot device.
It's the DC universe. The mentality of the average person is still stuck in the 50s.
Because it was so dorky and like I don't think I can have the technical skills that like an actual cheerleader would need. Like
she's a superhero.
Yeah, but like you have to still know how to like pull off the moves.
I think I know the reasoning behind that. I didn't see any other people trying out there. There was probably like 1 or 2 other people, and they were probably even worse.
And you know what? I'd imagine that school's not really big. I'd imagine that school's like maybe like 300 total students between 4 grades. So it's probably like when somebody has interest to join the cheerleading squad, they're in.
Yep, pretty much. It's like we will get to see and when we get around Halloween, there is like a Halloween dance there. And we get a nice idea of how many actual students there are.
I did legit enjoy the 2 of them in school, because like when we get to see Barry in school or Wally in school, it was like, or Wally or anyone else in school, it's like I mean they're part of their element, they understand what's going on. But Megan and Connor are so fish out of water, because Megan's only real experience with school before this is watching TV.
And that is so inaccurate.
Exactly. And Connor might academically know what school is, but that doesn't mean he's going to know how to fit in.
Yes, because like you said before, he can read off Wikipedia articles.
They showed in this episode he is like a walking Wikipedia, because like they asked about like, hey, when was this country founded? And he's just like ding and answers the question, and then just like
He doesn't get the social context of like how you're supposed to interact with people in a school setting.
He was about to jump all those cheerleaders when they were. Oh, we lost Eric. I think we lost Eric.
Awkward.
I see. Let's see. Yeah. The kids.
Yep, we lost Eric. There's Whoops. Well, I guess we'll talk it out real quick, because I know you got to go, Tom, and we got to kind of get ready too.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week, Eric, for our 4 episodes. This was a lot of fun. I did enjoy it. Talk to you later.
Yes, bye, Eric.
Oh, there's Eric.
All right, I'm back. That was I didn't know what happened there. I kind of just my mouse, just sort of deactivates. So I right click to turn it on, and then that booted me from the chat for a bit. So what I was about to do. So I didn't quite catch what you were saying, Ashley, but
about Megan being part of the cheerleading thing or whatever.
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know.
Okay.
I know where I was going to make the comment, like, yeah, he doesn't get social cues, because he was about to like jump those cheerleaders for splashing Megan with water.
Yes.
But we got to go anyway. I know Tom's got to go.
I know. I was just actually about to end the episode by stating the episodes that we will be covering next week. So episodes that we'll cover next week are episode 11, Terrors, Episode 12, Homefront, Episode 13, Alpha Male, and Episode 14, Revelation. So watch all 4 of those episodes, Tom, for next week, and hopefully we'll have as fun of a time next week as we did this week. It's been a pleasure, all 4 of you. Anything you guys want to plug, especially Tom, who's got a show in half an hour?
Yeah, literally a half hour. Cars and Popcorn today with Joe, and we're going to talk Dumb and Dumber. So it's going to get weird. So
Not you, Joe.
Not me, Joe. Took me a second. I'm like, what?
yeah, I wasn't going to try and pronounce his last name without looking at it right now. So
That's fair. And we have a new BFF coming up over Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yeah, that'll be coming out tonight.
Yep.
Later tonight.
Later tonight.
Yeah.
And then we just finished streaming Life is Strange. And we're going to record a little bit of a review over that game.
Makes sense.
And then later tonight, after Game of Thrones and such is done airing, we're going to probably play Rogue Legacy live. It's a little fun game.
We're going to call it our palate cleanser. It's a game where suffering is funny, not legit suffering.
Rogue Legacy is actually probably one of my favorite games that I own on Steam. As like it's like when that game like first came out, like I think when the Game Grumps Steam Train I guess was first playing it, I started playing it, and then I got to like New Game +4, but that was before they added in all those weird bosses.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. We have it on PS4, and that's what we're going to stream it from.
But it's a lot of fun, guys.
It is.
So
we played it a lot, but
yeah,
that's why we feel we can stream while playing it. Is because
Yeah.
it is a more action-oriented game, but we played it enough that we're not learning it. We just know what we're doing. So, that's what is in the store for us in the near future. We're going to be doing some BFF stuff, and then later on doing some Rogue Legacy.
All right. So, thanks, guys. I've been Eric Ossenmacher. I know I don't actually ever say my name on this show, but whatever. And this has been Just Whelmed, and I hope you all have a fun time watching the rest of the episodes.